come and say a few words for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. Your Excellency, Kibaki, immediate former president of our country, the leadership, both incoming and outgoing, of Kepsa, members of Kepsa and guests. I stand here this afternoon to bring the apologies of the President of our country, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, who is in South Africa, and also the apologies of the Deputy President, Honorable William Ruto, who is in Bungoma assessing the situation of insecurity in that part of our country. Therefore, Your Excellency, I am here to convey the remarks of our head of state, who would have wanted to be here personally because of the importance he attaches to private sector. I now have the honor of reading the remarks. It is a great honor to attend and address this important function where Kepsa is bidding farewell to the retired President, His Excellency Kibaki. During his 2 terms in office, President Kibaki's government greatly facilitated the Kenyan private sector by maintaining a conducive business environment. Some of the initiatives that his government put in place included massive infrastructure development, reduced licensing regimes, improved efficiency at our port of Mombasa, and more effective tax collection procedures. These tangible inputs have enhanced Kenya's competitiveness as a distinction of choice in this region and beyond. We salute and commend you, Your Excellency, for your relentless efforts to improve the economic welfare of our nation. We wish you a fruitful retirement and look forward to seeking your wise counsel on important national matters in the days ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, the Jubilee government is committed to fostering private sector-led growth, as this is a key pillar to our economic growth and development. Our vision to create 1 million jobs a year and ensure double-digit economic growth will not be possible without the constructive engagement and partnership with the private sector. We will seek to work closely with you to achieve our aims and objectives. To this end, we will maintain the dialogue mechanisms that have been established between the government and Kepsa, and we will ensure that the proceedings of these discussions are put into action. We look forward to a fruitful working relationship with you in the weeks and months ahead. On this note, initiatives such as the Vision 2030 delivery institutions, the National Economic and Social Council, including state corporation management, shall all be revived, rationalized, and revamped to ensure more inputs by private sector and enhance performance and value for money to the taxpayers of our country. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to assure on the security of our country. The security of our people is a key priority of my government. Those testing the resolve of my government by breaking the law will face the full force of the law. Nobody will be allowed to threaten the rule of law in this country. And the criminals in Bungoma harassing people should take note of this. Also, with regard to taking our country forward, we are revamping our foreign policy to ensure that Kenyan market and its goods and services are strategically marketed and sustained, and that our diaspora investors are acknowledged and supported as key inputs in our economic equation. We must support an export-led economy, and we shall give greater focus on one-stop shops and reduce the cost of doing business. Ladies and gentlemen, I am grateful that I have taken over from an able predecessor who has created the right atmosphere for my government to continue from where he left and take this country to the next level of economic development. The Kenya Private Sector Alliance is one of the key partners in the development of this country because, as an umbrella body that brings together key players in industry, the organization provides an entry point for collaboration and partnership between government and industry. Kepsa also provides an opportunity for different players to collaborate among themselves, build synergy, and create wealth and employment. As participants in business, Kepsa provides big employment opportunities for Kenyans, and by doing so, it helps tackle the serious problems of unemployment in this country. My government will engage private sector to strengthen the devolution process and transform counties into wealth creation and employment centers and stem rural-urban migration. Vision 2030 recognizes that the economy of this country must be driven by a strong partnership between the public and private sector. That is indeed the engine of the economy. A thriving private sector that is indeed the engine of the economy. A thriving private sector also creates the necessary tax base from which the government raises revenue to finance social and economic development in the country. As I conclude, I want to assure the members of Kepsa that my government will take the baton from the government of retired President Mwai Kibaki and continue to consolidate an enabling environment for maximization of wealth and prosperity for all of us. I will specifically continue with the presidential roundtables that my predecessor started. Finally, I wish to assure the private sector that, as I had promised, they will be directly involved in running my government. I have started by picking some of my nominees for cabinet secretaries from among yourselves. And this is not the end. Their contribution will enhance innovativeness and competitiveness as our markets compete in the regions and in the region and beyond. I wish His Excellency, the retired President Mwai Kibaki, long life and good health as he enjoys his well-deserved rest and continues in nation building in his new phase of his life. Thank you, and may God bless you. May God bless Kenya.
Thank you, Senator Kibaki. It is now my proud honor and privilege to request Your Excellency, Honorable Mwai Kibaki, to address us on the event of the 50 years of his life in Parliament, in politics, and of course on the end of the 10-year tenure and on joining Kepsa. So, Your Excellency, if you may, I would like you to address us. And today you can see we are sharing the same podium.
Thank you very much indeed. I want to thank you very much indeed for the honor of this beautiful lunch. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chairman, Kenya Private Sector Alliance, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to join you for this important gathering. The private sector is an important player in the economic development of any country. I appreciate the active role played by Kenya business in creating wealth and employment over the last 10 years. You have been an important pillar in our economic revival and growth efforts. I also commend your umbrella body, the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, for actively engaging the government and developing meaningful partnerships that have brought immense benefits to our people. So, ladies and gentlemen, during my term in office, the private sector played an important role in policy formulation. Kepsa was active in the formulation of the economic recovery strategy as well as in our Vision 2030. Moreover, in the last 10 years, the government was able to create dialogue mechanisms of engaging with the private sector. Together with Kepsa, we established the Ministerial Stakeholders Forum, the Parliament Engagement Program, the Prime Minister's Roundtable, and the Presidential Private Sector Working Forum. These have been important avenues of engaging government to learn and address challenges in the various sectors of our economy. I encourage you to maintain these important channels of dialogue and look at the need for a public sector stakeholders policy. Much more effort is required to promote and facilitate the establishment of thousands of industrial small and micro enterprises for a more rapid development for our country. Such a policy would provide the framework for structured and predictable consultations between the government and the private sector with a clear focus on wealth creation and poverty eradication in our society. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank Kepsa for the honor you have bestowed on me today. I assure you that I will always be available for a consultation for the betterment of our beloved nation. It has been an immense pleasure working with the private sector in the last 10 years, as well as in my previous government engagements, especially during my tenure at the Treasury. I encourage you all to strive to not only grow your companies and profits, but also to improve the welfare of your employees and communities that you operate in. I particularly urge you to find innovative ways of creating employment for our young people, because this will ensure that we have a more stable country in the years ahead. Finally, I encourage you to make your voice heard in the law and policy-making process. Our new constitution provides for increased public participation in governance, and I call upon you to actively engage in this process. That way, you will be making a major contribution to governance and socio-economic development of our country for the good of our people. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. And I would like finally to make two remarks. First, it is a joy to work with the government, but what is more challenging, more serious, is when you see Kenyans who should be making a contribution to development, but who waste their time just hanging around, just drinking or doing something useless things. Now, these things do happen all the time, and I'm sure we are called upon to make a change, a genuine change. Right now, as a country, we ought to be making a bigger progress. And that challenge is already provided, and will be provided in a bigger way in the next 3, 4 years, 5 years. Because the people we have linked up with, all those who are around us, all these countries, all of which we are building new ports in Mombasa, in Lamu, in all these places, and the countries which will be going through there, and they are prepared, and they want to, and they will be taking on the kind of job we are doing or should be doing. This is a challenge which is much bigger than anything you have faced till this time. those people will provide greater competition to you in Kenya than you have seen before. And it is coming. And I'm quite sure myself it's a wonderful thing to have all those neighbors, all these countries. They have all joined. I love to welcome them. I have enjoyed welcoming them. And we have actually made places for them to settle in around Mombasa, about other places, and do the job from there. Now, you will be woken up, hopefully. Hopefully, you will be, I believe so, but this is the moment you should be preparing to get more ready and to be going in a smarter manner and quick way, not just worrying about petty things local. Get busy with the challenge of developing the country. I'm sure that is what we are called upon to do. But whether we shall do it, we shall not be spared, because we have made big, good arrangements for these countries to join in a greater market and with greater freedom and all that kind of thing. All these arrangements have been made, and they're all going to be part of your daily life. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am very happy to be retiring, but I'm not retiring in the sense of leaving a job. That is a normal thing. We have to have somebody else, and already we have another president. And the president is doing very well in the new job. Now, I am doing my other job, and I will be with you and be competing with you. Not only in the kind of thing the chairman referred to here. Well, it's wonderful to have a reference to golf and other beautiful sports. And we should be joining in that kind of thing. But that is an occasional thing, and it is not a daily thing. But the daily work and daily challenge is work, serious work, which we shall be doing. And I myself, I will be doing. I'm supposed to be a little bit old, but I'm not really seriously that old. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you every. Now, let me say this. If there is anything you think we can do to help you or help anybody, we will be very pleased to do so. And if we have friends like we have them now, even some of them are here, one of them is just next to me there. And if all these friends, if they are going to go on working as much as they do work now, surely then that we have a good country. And that is what we are called upon to do, to make this country boom, get it go ahead in a beautiful manner. Very good indeed. Asante sana. Na mimi nasema asante. Thank you very much for this beautiful lunch. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. We'll surely be taking you up on mentoring and competition since we are in business. So thank you for that offer, and thank you for your kind words. Before I call our new Vice Chair of Kepsa, Dr. Leila Macharia, to proceed to give you yet another memorable gift to add to the documentary that we have given to you, I would like to take this opportunity to appreciate some of the people that Vimal appreciated. I'll take 5 of your advisors who worked very closely with Kepsa on the Presidential Working Forum, and also worked with me especially to ensure that the issues we presented were well articulated and were also within what government was thinking about. I know he's not here, but two of the others are here, or three. I can see three. But I would like to start with Ambassador Francis Muthaura, and we have a small gift for him. We will find a way to get it to him. But he was your cabinet secretary when we began Kepsa, and when we continued to start the Presidential Private Sector Working Forum. It was him in 2005 as a cabinet secretary who called a meeting of all the permanent secretaries and Kepsa leadership and issued an internal memo after that to government to work with Kepsa and start the ministerial stakeholder forums, which you have referenced. And it's through that we started having an established engagement with government, and that led to all the other roundtables that followed that. So I really want us to thank Ambassador Muthaura for the support and partnership that he gave us. So we do have something small, and I'd just like to show you it's a little animal, but an animal that you don't find in many countries, and this is what we'd like to just give him as a memory of what he did with us. But after that, your private secretary, Professor Wanjohi, continued that same work, and many hours were spent with him to perfect the matrices that we finally presented during the partnerships. And I would like to have our past chair, who worked with us during that time of the Presidential Working Forum, present a small gift to Professor Wanjohi. It's many times that we only see the president or others and not see the people behind the scenes who work daily and ensure these partnerships happen. Thank you very much, Professor. After Ambassador Muthaura left office, Mr. Kimemia took over and again continued with the same partnership, and especially ensuring the government continued to work with the private sector. The permanent secretaries engaged with us and the issues we needed to discuss. And I would like again to say thank you to Mr. Kimemia and give him something small to remember from the private sector.
Exercise, they want the cameras at the back.
Thank you, Mr. Kimemia. There were two other advisors who were completely behind the scene. Many of us do not know them. If I had not worked on this partnership, I'm not likely I would have met them. And there are many others I would like to appreciate today. But just focusing on that partnership, I'd like to appreciate these two and the three others that I've appreciated, because with their teams, they enabled this partnership to continue. I can see Professor Marangu, and I'd like him to also come forward.
Interesting pictures coming there through KTN, where Kepsa is now recognizing some of the people that made private-public partnership possible during President Mwai Kibaki's tenure. Some of them include Permanent Secretary Francis Kimemia, who is the secretary to the cabinet, and there's also acknowledgement for Francis Muthaura, who was the one who initiated the process. Now, during the speeches that were here at the Safari Park Hotel, President Mwai Kibaki reiterated the need for continued work between the government and the private sector. He says this is the only way that Kenya's economy will be able to attain double-digit growth. Now, in a speech read on his behalf, President Uhuru Kenyatta also reiterated the same, and that working closely with the private sector will be key to that double-digit growth. He also assured that he would maintain the dialogue and was talking also of revamping the National Economic Secretariat and Economic Forum, which brings together the people from the private sector. This is basically just a way of making sure that investment in the country continues in a continuous manner. Now, with that, we now cut our link from here at the Safari Park International Hotel and take you back to studio. It's been a pleasure. Continue the rest of your viewing.